How important do you think it is to analyze Pokemon pull rates? I think it's a lot of fun. It's really interesting data, but how important, how invested are you in understanding Pokemon pull rates? I think they're really important, and I'm going to tell you why here, because we're going to talk about the trainer. I don't even know how these two are related, but hang with me. We're going down a rabbit hole a little bit here. Analyzing Pokemon pull rates helps you make the best decision when it comes to spending your collection dollars. If you start understanding how broken down specific rarities are in every set that's printed, especially modern set, it helps you analyze that data and then compare it, how it correlates to past sets that have obviously already been printed. So if we go back to like base set, for example, your holographic rares were about 12 out of every 36 packs. 1 out of every 3 packs, you're getting about 12 holographic rares per booster box. You could master set the base set in about 3, maybe 4 boxes. You would pull every common, uncommon, rare, holographic rare. That was it as far as rarities go. Back in the Wizards of the Coast days, things have changed a lot now, right? With the EX era, we started seeing reverse holos, and then you had different ultra rare categories, whether it be crystals or shinings or a lot of other things that got added down the road, but it was much easier to pull specific cards. We also didn't have swollen set sizes. You had sets like Jungle, which was only 64 cards. You had sets like Neo Discovery, which was only like 72 cards or something like that. You had a lot smaller sets, whereas nowadays you have sets that are 200 to 300 cards, making things a lot more difficult to master. We also didn't have the specialty sets back then that we have now. We have these Pokemon 151, Scarlet and Violet 151 coming out in a couple weeks. That's our second holiday set of the year. We've had multiple holiday sets every year for the past few years now that added with the 4 main series sets that are coming out. That means you're getting roughly 6 sets every single year, which is a lot for people to collect. And back in the Wizards of the Coast days and early Nintendo days, you usually saw maybe 4 sets a year, just the 4 main series sets. There wouldn't be really any specialty sets that came out until we started seeing like the Dragon Vault set that came out at the beginning of Black and White, X and Y. That was pretty much it. We didn't have those specialty sets anymore. So it's a lot more difficult now. There's also a lot more rarities out there, a lot more categories out there. So analyzing pull rates and then comparing them to what we've seen in the past for those specific rarities helps us make the best decision when it comes to spending our collection dollars. Times are tough right now. Like, times are really tough for a lot of people right now. Financially, economically, things are not the way they were during the pandemic or even shortly after we started making our way through the pandemic. Times are much more difficult now, and because of that, a lot of people are exiting the hobby. A lot of people are selling off their collection. I've gotten more messages, more emails about collection selling now than really ever, because a lot of people need that money, need those finances. They can't afford this hobby anymore. And the best thing that you can do to stay in a hobby is make sure that you're not feeling like you're getting ripped off. Make sure that you're buying cards at their lowest possible price. Make sure you're not overspending. Make sure you're not making decisions based off of FOMO, bad decisions, things like that. There's been a lot of content that's been created over the past few years that really spreads FOMO, and I know that I'm guilty of it as well, and it certainly is not my intent to ever do something like that. But there's been a lot of content that has really upped the FOMO ante, so to speak. And there's been some content that's been created over the past several weeks going over the trainer gallery cards from the Sword and Shield set. It's amazing how much attention is still being paid to Sword and Shield now that we are entering into our 4th main series set release with Scarlet and Violet. Paradox Rift coming out in November. Obviously, we have the specialty set Scarlet and Violet 151 coming out in a couple weeks. Not a lot of people excited about Scarlet and Violet. This happens pretty much with every new generation. It takes a little bit of time for people to get into it. Pokemon needs to release a banger of a set, and then all of a sudden people really start diving into it. But a lot of people are still looking at their collections from Sword and Shield, which did have much more difficult pull rates than what we're seeing from Scarlet and Violet, and trying to finish up master sets or collections. Maybe you've got a collection binder that's just trainer gallery cards, and you're trying to buy a singular copy of every single card. But it's about making the best decisions on when to purchase that card. And with content creation happening, where we talk about trainer gallery cards, sometimes prices go up, sometimes prices go down, and it really impacts spending decisions and spending habits. If we look at trainer gallery cards and try and break it down based off of pull rates, I think we've got a lot of time. I think we've got a lot of time when it comes to making the best decision on spending our collection dollars when it comes to trainer gallery cards. First of all, there's still a lot of trainer gallery cards that are being opened. Brilliant Stars, all the way through Silver Tempest, all those sets are going to have trainer gallery cards. A lot of those sets still extremely cheap, extremely affordable when it comes down to loose packs. Once those loose packs start getting up in price, that's when the trainer gallery cards are going to be a little bit more difficult to find, but people are opening them all the time. Pull rates for trainer gallery cards are actually fairly good. However, not as good as what you would see from like a regular Art V card during the Sword and Shield era. If we look at the trainer gallery breakdown, the front half of the trainer gallery, for example, TG1 through TG13 or 14, whatever the case may be, you're going to get roughly 3 of those per booster box, 3 out of every 36 packs. And since there's roughly 14 or 15, that means your pull rate on those, if you pull perfectly, your pull rate, assuming they all get printed the same amount, is going to be 1 out of every 150, 175 packs, which is a little worse than what you see from a regular Art V card. It's more comparable to like a V-Star card or a VMax card when it comes to pulling individual specific trainer gallery cards, like that Chandelure from Lost Origin, or the Charizard from Lost Origin, or the Sleepy Pikachu from Lost Origin. When it comes to the back half of the trainer gallery cards, those are a little bit more difficult to pull. Those are about 2 out of every booster box, meaning you're going to have to open up roughly 7 booster boxes of a set, pulling perfectly in order to pull all those unique trainer gallery cards from that set. So it's important to understand that you're looking at a pull rate of roughly 1 out of every 250 for the specific individual trainer gallery cards in the back half of a set, which is a little bit more comparable to random full arts that you might see. So watching price points for all these cards is important, because there's still a lot of full arts from the entirety of the Sword and Shield block that are dirt cheap. There's actually very few that are relatively expensive. If you look at all the full art V cards from the entirety of the Sword and Shield block, there's not a whole lot that are in double digits. For the most part, they're all single digits, and a lot of them are very close to bulk pricing, but that's because so much product of Sword and Shield has been opened. So when people start comparing this to a junk wax era or anything like that, you can't be looking at these sets when it comes to an investment strategy. You can't be looking at these sets for 2, 3, 4, 5 years even. If you're looking at like the base set, for example, you had to look at 25 years of data plus a pandemic, plus a shortage of inventory, plus a lot of people in their basement reliving their childhood memories for a lot of those cards to just start swelling in price. So the likelihood of that happening again is probably not going to happen, but it's important to make sure that you do make the best decision before a 99-cent Chandelure becomes a $2 Chandelure or a $3 Chandelure, because that's upping your percentage of costs. It's important just to kind of keep looking at it, but keep that in mind, that it's important to make your own decision when it comes to your spending habits. Don't do anything rash, don't FOMO or anything like that. Content creation is content creation, and it's a lot of fun to create content, and it can be really interesting from time to time, but the decisions ultimately are it's yours. You have to make the best decision for your own specific position, but use the data that's out there, use the data that we have compiled historically to make the best decisions when it comes to spending your collection dollars. That was a long rant and ramble, and we're going to talk about the trainer gallery. Right now, there's one trainer, so we're going to look at the top 15 trainer gallery cards that are printed right now, the top 15 most expensive ones, and there's one in specific that has really blown up in price, and we're looking at it right now. Now, Starmie V, a lot of these trainer gallery cards are comparable to what we see from alternate arts, because they do have alternative artwork. So it does get a little confusing, but there is a full art Starmie V in the set, but this Starmie V is the trainer gallery, not necessarily an alternate art, but this card is absolutely gorgeous, very cool with the colors that pop out, a lot of unique detail all over the place, which has made this card extremely expensive really since the get-go. But over the past few months, it's really started to explode in price. You can see its 1-year low point of $31.14 is where it was hit in May of 2023. So actually at the beginning of the summer, but relatively flat for the majority of 2023 up until May, where it really started to balloon in price. Now it's sitting at $48.46, which is a 1-year high for that Starmie V. Pikachu V Max, the Gigantamax Pikachu V Max from Lost Origin. This card is really cool. However, it's seen a lot of peaks and valleys. We're about 1 year removed from the release of Lost Origin, a little bit more than that. You can see it in September of 2022, not too long after Lost Origin came out. It started going down a little bit, but then started climbing back up throughout the end of 2022 into the beginning of 2023. That's where it hit that 1-year high of $56.27. But like the market, like a lot of other cards in the market, with the market slowing down a lot, the bottom kind of fell off, and you can see it dropping further and further down. And then in July, it ended up hitting a 1-year low of $36.39. It actually gained about 10% of that back, but it's still sitting at $39.37 currently, so still relatively cheap. If we look at the Rayquaza V Max, we're looking at 6 months of data from this one because you don't have a full year worth of data from Silver Tempest yet. And a lot of Silver Tempest cards were really ballooned during the release. But if you look at this Rayquaza V Max in specific in March of 2023, that's when it was at its 1 year high of $41.58. Started crashing down, came up a little bit in April of 2023, but then just a huge descent after that. You can see bottoming out in August of 2023 where it hit $29.40. Now it's gained almost 20% of that back over the past couple months, so it's slowly gaining some steam again, sitting at $34.04 currently. If we look at the Umbreon VMax, a lot of this is dictated by competitive play, so it wouldn't surprise me if this card dropped $5, $6. So if you're still looking at adding an Umbreon VMax to your collection from the Brilliant Stars Trainer Gallery, you may want to hold off a few more months or maybe even longer depending on how Umbreon VMax does in competitive play. But you can see relatively flat for a while, and then in May 2023, like a lot of other cards in the market, it dropped down to $20.32, which was a 1 year low, and then really started exploding in price because of competitive play prior to Worlds, with a lot of players thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll play Umbreon VMax, and this was kind of a cool card. They don't want to play the Umbreon because that's going to be super expensive, but this makes sorting through your deck a little bit easier if you have different variants and different variations. This Umbreon VMax, obviously with the Dark Signal ability, but it ended up jumping to $32.28 as a 1 year high in August. It's backed off a little bit now, sitting at $30.52, but it'll be interesting to see what happens as we move forward with the competitive season really starting up with Pittsburgh Regionals this weekend. Pikachu V from Lost Origin, really cool card. This was kind of a chase for a lot of people along with that Pikachu V Max. Lots of peaks and valleys with this one, lots of ebbs and flows, and you get that with a lot of different popular Pokemon cards, but this is definitely one that you're going to want to keep an eye on. You can see in February of 2023, it did hit that peak of $34.54 as a 1 year high before the bottom falling out in May, dropped all the way down to about 23, then jumped back up close to $30, and then it dropped all the way down in August to $22.37. That's a 1 year low for this card. Now it's climbed back a little bit, gaining almost 30% back, sitting at $27.76, but really up and down all over the place. The Garch V, also from Astral Radiance, this was a fan favorite for a lot of people, but it's really struggled and might be at its low point right now, so definitely one to keep an eye on. You can see moving up north relatively far, all the way up to over $30. It hit $30.96 in February of 2023 as it was trending upwards, but then really started backing off, started coming back down. It leveled out a little bit from May to July, and then hit that 1 year low at the beginning of August of $19.47. It's gained about 10% of that back, sitting at $21.85 currently. Then we've got the Sylveon Vmax, also from Brilliant Stars. This card not performing as well as what it did at the beginning. Like I said, still a lot of loose Brilliant Stars packs out there, a lot of Sylveon Vmaxes being pulled, and with those Brilliant Stars packs still being relatively affordable, selling for below MSRP, that makes pulling this card a lot easier than buying it. But it's trending upwards at the beginning of 2023 until February of 2023, where it hit that 1 year high of $21.30. You're seeing about a 30% difference between its 1 year high and 1 year low. Bottom fell out in May of 2023, like we saw with a lot of other singles. It dropped down to $15.15. It's gained maybe 8% or so of that back, sitting at $16.26 currently. Then we've got the Umbreon V from Brilliant Stars. This one fell all the way down to $12.80 in May of 2023. A lot of these cards trended upwards at the back half of 2022 into the front half of 2023. And then when May of 2023 hit, a lot of singles really fell far, and a lot of these trainer gallery cards, no exception when it comes to that. It has started gaining a little bit of that back. It's sitting at $15.48 currently, so right in between its 1 year high and 1 year low. If we look at the Mimikyu VMax, this one has really started to gain some steam over the last few months. You can see it relatively flat from September of 2022 up until March of 2023, hitting that 1 year high, staying right around $16.05, and then May, June, up until the beginning of July is when it really started falling down. It hit $10.94, so it lost about a third of its value in the span of 2 months. And then in July of 2023, it started climbing back up. So now it's closer to its 1 year high than its 1 year low, sitting at $14.71. If we look at the Friends in Galar from Silver Tempest, this one started rising a lot when a lot of those modern full art trainers started going up. Friends in Galar was also one that was kind of picked to be purchased a lot. You can see in March of 2023, it really started falling down. It dropped from, it was up at 16 $18.67 as a one-year high, and then it dropped all the way down to a one-year low by May of 2023 of $12.30. So over the span of a couple months, it lost about 25% of its value. Then it started climbing back up, and you can see it close to its one-year high again in July of 2023, but then the bottom fell out again, dropped all the way down to about $12.50. Now it's gained about $1 of that back, sitting at $13.44 currently. The Sylveon V from Brilliant Stars has just been dropping really ever since release. Really cool looking card, but not performing as well in the market. You can see in December of 2022, sitting at a one-year high of $19.67. It's lost about 33% of its value over the past 7-8 months or so, and really trending downwards this entire time. You can see some steep drops in May of 2023, another steep drop in June of 2023, went up a little bit, and now it's leveled off to about $12.45, but still way below its one-year high. Mimikyu V, not a whole lot of movement on this, but you're still seeing about 25% of a decrease in value over the past year. In December of 2022, it did hit that one-year high of $13.78, stayed relatively flat until February of 2023, where it really started to drop. In May of 2023, it hit that one-year low of $9.68, but it's gained about half of that back, sitting at $11.66 currently. Judge is a card that's been impacted a lot by competitive play. You can see the full art Judge here in March of 2023 really started trending upward as Judge became more playable in the competitive field. It hit $24.46 in March of 2023, and then after Judge started not becoming as playable and more uncommon singles of this card came out, Judge started falling in price. You can see in June of 2023 it dropped all the way down to about $12 and continued to fall down after that. It hit $10.86 a couple weeks ago as a one-year low. Now it's sitting at $10.93 currently. The Blazin V Max, this one is from Silver Tempest as well. A lot of just large drops from March of 2023 up until June of 2023. You can see its one-year high, $13.36, lost about 25% of that over the span of a couple months. In June of 2023, it hit that one-year low of $9.10. Now it's been trending upwards for the past 4 months. It's gained a little bit back, sitting at $10.62 currently. Gloria from Brilliant Stars, another card that was impacted somewhat by the full art trainer buyout. You can see in May of 2023, it really started blowing up in price, but not quite to the point where it hit its one-year high, which it hit in November of 2022. It was at $13.92, and then by May of 2023, it had fallen down to $9.07, so losing again about 25% of its value, and a lot of that happening right around the same time as the Pokemon market crash for a lot of these singles. Started going back up again when a lot of those full art trainers got bought out. It hit about $13.40, and then backed off again. Now it's sitting at $10.77. And I think that's all of it. That's all that we've got. Those are the top 15 trainer gallery cards as far as expense goes. There's only one other one that has a market price over $10, and that I believe is the Blazin V trainer gallery card from Silver Tempest. Everything else is single digits. So if you are looking to add to your trainer gallery collection, now might be the time to start picking up some of them slowly but surely. We have a couple weeks until Pokemon 151, Scarlet and Violet 151 comes out, and I think a lot of attention is going to be paid to that set. So it's definitely something that you want to keep in mind as we move forward if you're looking to shore up some of these trainer gallery cards. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, leave a comment, because it goes a long way for the algorithm. Thank you so much for everything. You guys are amazing. Until next time, we'll be back tomorrow with Pokemon 150 Fun Day. Until then, guys, peace.